Well, we are on Facebook Live, and as far as I can see, it's Erica Gamet and Anne Marie and me, but I have no idea because this technology is uh, confusing. Let's just say it's confusing sometimes. It's not like InDesign. InDesign is straightforward. It's obvious.
So simple, right?
It's so simple. It makes sense.
Very few, tools and things. Yeah, it's a simple program. It's like, any kind of simple game that you played on Game Boy in 1985. That's what I equate InDesign with.
Well,
no, David's right. We're really pushing technology, and part of that technology that we push is that I'll just say it. 10 minutes before we went live, my computer died. I mean, died. You restart, and it has some horrible gibberish on it. So I had to run downstairs to the basement, get my backup computer, install Skype, hook up my headset. The headset didn't work, so now you just hear me on my mic.
That is the kind of day it is today. But we're going to start at the beginning, right?
Yes.
At the very beginning. My name is David Blatner, and I'm here along with the fabulous Anne Marie Concepción.
Hi, everybody. I'm here along with David A. Blatner, and we're co-hosts of InDesignSecrets.com and InDesign Conference, and in fact, CreativePro Week and all that fun stuff. And I've been spreading the news that you and I are going to be sharing tips today all about InDesign. And if people have any questions about something in InDesign, to go ahead and put them in the comments. And Erica Gamet, the intrepid Erica, is behind the scenes, and she'll be sending us your questions as we speak, because like David said, we have no idea what this looks like on Facebook Live. All I see is David and Erica. So anyway.
Isn't that fun? What are you going to do?
Talk about some tips? You want to start out with a tip, David?
I will. The goal of today is to talk, just kind of share some of our favorite little InDesign tips, some little tidbits that will help your life be happier when you're in InDesign. Because after all, our goal with InDesign is to make you smile more while you work.
Right.
It sounds crazy, but it's true. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to help you be more productive as you work. So I'm going to start with a little tip, and excuse me, I'm also fighting a bit of a cold, so I'm sorry if I sound like I'm a little froggy, but I'm going to jump in here and try sharing my screen. This is a brand new thing. We've never done this on one of our interview webinars, Ask the Experts, before, but we're going to try and do this. Oops. We're going to try and do this with InDesign. Are we there? I hope so. Magic? Nope, maybe not. How about that?
Hey, I see it now.
Oh
Good.
My gosh. It's a lot of buttons to press,
cool.
Just like InDesign. In InDesign, there's a lot of buttons to press, and sometimes you don't know which one to press, but we're going to help you with some of that. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about some beginning tips, and then also some more intermediate advanced tips, things that come up that will help you. I hope you can see my screen okay. I'm going to roll up my sleeves and dive right in. The first thing I'm going to do here is I just want to talk about these tools over here in the tool panel. Do I have my zoom in? Yep. Hopefully that zoom in trick is working. I'm going to be, no, it's not working. Okay, well, I won't zoom in anymore. Thank you for letting me know. First thing I want to do is just point out the difference. Most of you know the difference between the selection tool, that's the black arrow tool at the top, and the direct selection tool, which you can get by clicking on it or just by pressing the letter A. So the letter V goes to the selection tool, the letter A goes to the direct selection tool, and most of you know the difference there is with the direct selection tool, you can select the points on this path. But it seems like, why would you want to do that, especially for a plain rectangle? Well, I want to point out that you don't have to select all the points. And sometimes you want to select more than one. Right, fluids, sorry. Sometimes you want to select more than one.
Yeah.
I know, it's crazy. I'm going to select this point over here, and then I'm going to shift click over here, actually, or shift drag over here. So now I have 2 points selected, and I can move those independently of the other 2 points. So one of the things I want you to know is that you can, oh, my voice is really going now, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You can select individual points or individual segments. Now, you may not do that with a rectangle very often, but you might. Here, let's try it. One of my favorite examples. I'm going to just grab some text frame, and I'll fill it with some placeholder text. We have our favorite little Latin in there, and I have, if I hit the escape key, it'll go back to the selection tool, and I can move the whole frame around, of course. But if I now hit the A key, Now I've got the points selected on the frame. That's interesting. That means I can do stuff to the points separately from the text within the frame. For example, I might come up here and rotate this. What if I rotate these points, 30 degrees? Now I've rotated the points. Ooh,
but the text remains horizontal. So you're changing the frame without changing the contents of the frame, which is pretty cool.
You know what we're going to do here today? I'm going to demo, and Anne-Marie's going to explain.
Yeah, I will try to read your mind across the 2,000 miles that separate us.
That's awesome. Exactly. That's
okay.
but
I'll definitely give you a hand. Go ahead.
We've worked together for so many years that we can do this. I know we can do this. All right. So you can rotate the points separately from the frame. So we've rotated the object, but not the text inside. You can do the same thing with graphics as well. But here's one of my favorite things. Let's just get rid of that. You know, under these frame tools is the polygon tool, right? And the polygon tool normally gives you hexagons, which nobody needs at all, as far as I can tell.
Except for beekeepers who are drawing out hives.
That's true. Good point. Beekeepers need that.
Yeah.
The rest of us need other kinds of polygons. So once you have a polygon, you can double click on it to set its options. So now I'll just say, let's give like 11 sides and a 20% inset. Now I've got kind of a starburst, right? So once I have a starburst, once again, I can go back to my direct selection tool by pressing A, and I can see all the points on that. And once you have the points in here, you can start selecting those separately. So I'm going to select just these inside points. I'm not going to worry about the outside points. I just want these inside points like that. So I've selected all the inside points and left the outside points deselected. Once again, I can come in here and start rotating this. What if I, whoa, that was exciting. I rotated this and it went kablooey. So let's undo that, Command Z. Why did that go kablooey? Why did that not give me an interesting, well, it was an interesting effect. It just wasn't the effect I wanted because I did not first look at the reference point up here, the upper left corner of the screen and the left side of the control panel. The reference point, you always want to go look at the reference point before you do any kind of scaling or rotating or anything, because this says what's going to stay locked when everything else will move. I want the center. I want everything to rotate around the center point here. So once again, I'm rotating around the center. I have just those inside points selected, and I'll rotate this, say, 30 degrees. And now I've got this kind of wacky, cool effect. And let's make this thicker. Maybe even really thick, maybe really, really, really thick. There we go. And we can change the size. You can do a lot of interesting Illustrator-like effects within InDesign when you start playing with those points. So that's what I wanted to show you. That's what I wanted to show you about that. Remember, we can still go to the strokes panel over here and say, wow, this is selected. We're going to maybe make these rounded caps. Or change our, there we go. So here's a rounded cap or rounded joins instead, not caps, but join. You can have fun with that. Play around with it. Enjoy the process. That's what's important. All right, that was my first tip, going in and playing with individual points on your, I need to stop sharing this so I can actually see you. Or you could see me, more to the point. So that was my first tip. That was selecting points on a path with a croaky voice so that you can do really interesting effects on those shapes. Okay, that's what I wanted to share.
All right, that's good. Now I'm going to show, I actually had a bunch of tips prepped to show on the poor sick baby computer. So now I'm on my backup computer and I will just do them on the fly. Yeah, PepCon, there you go. And I don't know if you can see my screen now, but look what I have. Great minds think alike. I got the pint glass. Okay, so now I guess I'll share my screen, and let me see how this will work. Hang on a minute. Share the screen, start sharing. Hopefully you're all seeing that. Does that look good? You should see InDesign. Yes?
Yes. Woof, woof.
Okay. Sorry, not your croaky throat has made me paranoid. So hopefully I'm okay. All right. So what I did was I'm in InDesign and I just created a text frame and filled it with some placeholder text. Now today in our Facebook group, I don't know if you read any of the posts there today, David. But there's a good conversation going on. Somebody posted, is there a way to make a drop cap that sticks outside to the left of the text frame and that flows with the text without creating a separate text frame and then anchoring it or whatever? And a bunch of people jumped in with some solutions. And the one, most people use the one that I posted about, which is you add a space before the first letter and then use kerning to do so. So let me show you that. So here we have a paragraph that starts with Q, and I'm not even gonna bother doing it to the paragraph style. I'll just come over here, go down to drop caps and nested styles. And the first step is that you wanna set the number of lines to drop. So I'll just say 3 lines. But critical is that you say 2 characters. Now, it looks dumb, but we're going to fix that in a second. That's all. It's just say, OK. And then your cursor should be blinking in front of the first letter, and just tap the space key. So now it's a space and a Q. And the reason you're doing this is because you can't kern in if there's no character or letter to the left of your cursor. You can only kern if you're in between a couple characters. So now that we've done so, I can start pressing Option or Alt left arrow to start kerning that guy in. And notice how he just says, I don't care about the edge of the frame. I'll just keep going. But also look at this field up here. This is the kerning field. It's at -700. I mean, if you're tired of tapping, you could just say, let's try -1000 and see what happens. Oh, that's actually perfect. And now as I add text, it floats with the paragraph. Let's actually add some space below here. So I'm switching to the paragraph mode, and I'll add some space below paragraph so we can see it a little better. Okay.
That's great.
So now the problem with this method, I mean, it's great. It works great, except that it's all manual. You can save the fact that there are 2 characters in a drop cap as part of the paragraph style, but you'll always have to go back and add a space and then kern it in. And somebody else jumped in with a way that you can do this with a grep style.
Ooh.
I thought was pretty cool. So what he did is let's go ahead and change this kerning back to normal, and try
or maybe or just use a different paragraph. You want to use a different paragraph?
Oh, that's true. I could just do a different paragraph. So but I want more text here. So there we go. So I'll start here with the B nos anatom, which is probably something really rude in Latin. I really don't know what it means. And we do this again. We go to the drop caps and nested styles. We say let's jump at 3 lines and 2 characters. And then you add a space in front. But with the space in front, you select, I think this is how it goes. I haven't found my other computer, but I think we select the space, and then you track it in.
Sure. Yep.
-1000.
Yep.
Okay. Now, because we have selected something and changed its formatting, we can create a character style. You can't create a character style just by blinking, putting your cursor in between 2 characters, and changing the kerning method. Character style does not recognize that at all, but it does recognize if you've selected something. So if I go to character styles and choose new character style, and we'll just call it drop caps outside. All right. And we can test it here. So let's continue. On this guy, let's do a different capital letter instead of an I. Let's try an M. And so I add a space before it, and I select the space, and I say, I have to go to the paragraph style. Go to drop caps and say we want 3 lines and 2 characters. The space is selected, and I apply the character style. See that? I just clicked on drop caps outside.
Yep.
And there it is. So that's part 2. All right. So first you apply -1000 tracking to the space. Second, you save it as a character style. And let's go to part 3, which is you still have to put a space in front of the word, But you go to the paragraph style. I'm going to make a new one and call it drop cap paragraph. And then down here in drop caps and nested styles, or sorry, grep style, you say create a new grep style that applies the style, and here's your character style here, drop caps outside, to the text caret space, which means the first space it finds in the paragraph. Okay, so let's try it. And we click here and click drop cap paragraph, and of course it didn't do it. Oh, I forgot to actually make the drop cap. So come down here under drop caps and make it 3 lines and 2 characters. There we go.
There we go.
There. So now you have, all you have to do is click on the paragraph style name, and and make sure that you put a space in before the first letter, and it does it. That caret in the grep style, I didn't know for sure because I'm not a grep wizard like you are. The caret actually means the first space, because I didn't know that. Because I said, isn't it going to current and tracking, all the spaces in the paragraph? And he said, no, the caret means the first space. And this is an actual hit on the space bar to the right. Kind of hard to tell. But you have to remember to add the space after the caret. The end.
The end. Now,
and, I will, if you go to facebook.com/groups/InDesignSecrets, you'll see this thread. The gentleman's name, I think he's from New Zealand. I don't know. His name is Peru. Sorry if you're there listening. I thought it was brilliant and very clever. And I love that Facebook group of ours because other members just jump in with great solutions. He even, when I was asking him how this would work, he posted a download link to a snippet that he created so that people could place it and get this character style and paragraph style in their InDesign document, which is how I realized what he did. He had a couple other tweaks that he did that you might find interesting. So check out that thread.
It's a fascinating problem because this whole issue of trying to get text outside of a text frame, it is really hard. And even with that example you showed there, it still wasn't even perfect because the M is wider than a B. And so you're always going to have to make adjustments to that kerning to try and get it out.
Yeah, that's true. But he had a solution for that was built into the style. I think what he did was he made the space character 200% horizontally scaled. And somehow that solved the problem of the wide characters.
Interesting. I'm looking forward to looking into that more closely. I've never seen a solution that's reliable enough for all of those, but I love that idea of applying grep styles. Now, grep is something that you've probably heard us talk about grep in the past, or you've seen it on the InDesign group or elsewhere, or InDesignSecrets. And a lot of people have been wondering, where am I supposed to learn about grep? Because it's not obvious. And so a couple of things I wanted to point out. One is that we have a wonderful book at InDesignSecrets.com. If you go to InDesignSecrets.com/shop, you go to our little shop online, and there's a book by Peter Carell there, which is all about, it's a comprehensive guide to using grep with InDesign. And it's small, it's easy, very easy to read. And if you work your way through that, you're going to be using grep in no time.
And it's a PDF, so you can easily copy the grep codes that he's telling you what they'll do and paste it into the fields in InDesign.
Now, that's also available in print and as Kindle. If you go to Amazon, you'll find it if you just search for InDesign and grep, you'll find the InDesign Secrets Guide to InDesign and grep.
Just for grep and InDesign, that's the title of the book. Grep and InDesign, 3rd edition.
The second thing that you should know about is, of course, CreativePro Week. The InDesign conference, which happens during CreativePro Week every year. The InDesign conference is chock full of grep sessions. And Erica Gamma is going to be doing a session on grep this year, where she's just going to start simple with one of her tutorials, but she will go deep into grep for if you really want to get some awesomeness out of it at the InDesign conference. So definitely check out the InDesign conference. It'll be in Seattle this year, and we're excited because this is going to be our the 20th anniversary of InDesign. And so we're going to do a special celebration for the 20th anniversary.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be happening. It's also the 20th anniversary of CreativePro, so we get to celebrate even more.
That's right.
And it's the 10th, our 10th PepCon conference, which is another event that happens during CreativePro Week.
The first conference that David and I put on, it was called PepCon, and it's still going on, the Print and E-Publishing Conference, and it was in Seattle 10 years ago in 2009.
There's my little PepCon mug.
That's so cute. Yeah, I think we had 50 people, 655. It was fantastic. Yes.
So anyway, okay, let's do a couple more tips talking about InDesign and stuff that you'll be excited about learning about at the InDesign conference and at InDesignSecrets. I want to talk a little bit about scripts. Scripts is one of my favorite topics because scripts allow you to extend the functionality of InDesign. Super important, because if you're just using InDesign with just the tools that Adobe is giving you, you're limiting yourself. There's so much more you could be doing with InDesign, and there's so many ways that you could make your life easier and happier if you start using scripts. So scripts can be, I mean, there's very complex, huge scripts, and there's a lot of very small scripts that you can get, you can find on InDesignSecrets.
I don't know if you're going to show them, but there's a bunch of ones that are built in now in every copy of InDesign. You could just open them and start double-clicking them and seeing what they do.
Yeah, let me share my screen here and jump over to InDesign, and I'll point out that, so we're looking at InDesign. I'm going to go to the Window menu, go down to the Utilities submenu, and inside the Utilities submenu, you'll find scripts. So even if you don't download, for some reason. Say it again?
I'm sorry, I can't see your screen like I did before.
Oh my gosh, I'm glad you're pointing that out. How's that? How's that? How we doing? Better?
Yep.
Window, I'm repeating myself. Window, going down to Utilities, and we're going to choose Scripts. There we go. Here's my Scripts panel, and it's going to probably look tiny on your screen, but inside my Scripts panel, I have a bunch of my own scripts that I've downloaded. I'll talk about some of those in just a minute. But what the ones you're pointing out, Anne-Marie, really important, you open up your application folder, and then inside samples, and then you're probably going to want to use the JavaScript ones. And inside the JavaScript folder, you'll find all of these cool scripts that you can take advantage of. So, for example, let's say this was out of order. Quick, I spent all this time putting this in order, but let's say this is out of order. I've got a list that's out of order. Let's zoom in on this even more. I've got a list that's out of order, and I want to put these paragraphs in order. Well, in alphabetical order. Well, there's no sort feature inside of InDesign, right? But there is a sort script. So inside samples, JavaScript, I can scroll down here and look at that. Sort paragraphs. And to run a script, it's very complicated. No, not really. To run a script, all you have to do is double click on it. Double click on it, click OK, and boom, now it's in alphabetical order. Really, really easy. And it's so great that all those features are in there, but as you said, they're hiding. They're hiding inside this folder. Yeah. So definitely take a look at some of these. If you do a search, if you're curious about what all of these do, if you do a search on InDesignSecrets.com for sample script descriptions, it's actually an old page from an InDesign magazine from a previous InDesign conference a couple of years ago. And I realized I placed the PDF, but it placed the wrong page. I wanted page 1. It placed page 2. This is really frustrating because there's no way inside InDesign, there's no way to select that and say, no, I want page 1 or page 5 or page 10. No way to change the page. You'd have to re-import it from scratch. Very frustrating. I don't want to re-import it from scratch. I just want to change the page. So I'm going to use a script. And the script is called Replace. And you can download Replace from InDesignSecrets. We'll find the link on there. But if you just search for Replace script, you'll probably find it pretty easily. And here's how it works. First, you have to find the script. You have to install the script. You have to run. But to run the script, you may not find it inside that panel. So I'm going to use Quick Apply. Now, I hope you're all using Quick Apply. Quick Apply is Command Return on the Mac or Control Enter on Windows. And when you choose Quick Apply, up comes this little pop-up menu, this little temporary window that gives you a lot of options. Excuse me. So, like I'm going to type Replace, and you'll see that there's lots of features in here. You'll also see paragraph styles, character styles, all kinds of stuff. If you don't use Quick Apply, go start using it right now. Command Return or Control Enter to open Quick Apply. But what you won't find is scripts. The scripts aren't in here until you go to this little triangle pop-up menu and choose Include Scripts. See how it's not checked? But if I turn on Include Scripts, now I get scripts in there. Yay! Yay! Scripts are your friend. Now, if you only want to see scripts, there goes the voice. If you only want to see scripts, you type S:, S for script, S script, and then I'm going to just type replace, and there it is, user replace JavaScript. And when you run that just by clicking on it or hitting the return key, up comes the place dialog box again, and now I can say what page I want, hit open, and it replaces it. Let's try it again. Command return or control enter on Windows. It's already found the script I want. Go down there, hit return, and now I can say I want page 24. Boom, and it's done. So very easy way to run scripts using quick apply, and that replace script is phenomenally helpful. Absolutely so helpful. I love that one. All right.
Cool. All right. I think Erica said that we lost our signal for a little bit, but we're back. I hope they didn't eliminate any of David's really cool tips. I hope that all came through. But should I share my screen, or I have another? I can talk. I have another tip queued up, or I'm not sure how our time.
Yeah, do one more. Let's do one more. I want to see.
Okay. All right.
Share that screen.
Let me share my screen and tell me when you see the brochure in InDesign open.
I see it.
You see it?
I see a dog theme. There's a dog theme today.
Yeah, I'm majoring into dogs. Not so much into cats, but it's all right. Anyways, this is just a fake brochure, obviously, that I was playing around with. And what I wanted to talk about was linked images versus embedded images, mainly because I'm working with a client who sent me their InDesign file, a 96-page catalog that was 1.2 gigabytes in size. I'm like,
ouch.
I've never seen an InDesign file that big. And I opened it up, and it was because all of the images were embedded. Every catalog page had lots of pictures, and some of the pictures were repeated on many pages, and each one of those instances was embedded, rather than all of them just having a pointer to the original file. That's why it was so big, and they were having problems with it not printing, not exporting to PDF. It was crashing. Anyway, I found out that the reason they were embedding all those images is because some person had told them years ago, because they're having so much trouble keeping track of all their linked images, just embed everything. Then you don't have to worry about it.
Right.
It's true, but that's probably taking it a little too far. So some people don't know what I'm talking about as far as embedded images are concerned, and I just want to kind of go through the basics of that. So normally, I'm going to switch back to normal view. When you place something, you go to find an image, it creates a link to the original image. It doesn't actually suck in the whole image. That is different from, say, like Microsoft Word. Usually in Word, when you place the image, it brings in the entire image. But in InDesign, it just makes a link to the original image. So that when you send this document to print or export to PDF, it sends the InDesign information, that file information, and then it looks on your hard drive or wherever for the original images that you're linking to, and then it sends that data when it's that page's turn. And you can see where all these links are in the links panel, surprise, surprise, and here's all the links. Now, this one image here, you can see there's a little icon next to it, and I've selected it. This image of the lady is embedded. That's what that icon means. So if I sent this to you, and I didn't send you any of the original files, you would get alerts from InDesign saying that you're missing a link, and you could still print or export to PDF, but it would give you a low-res preview because it didn't have original data to send, except for this image. This image is embedded in the document, so it has the full-res data. And that is why this client was doing that, so they didn't have to worry about always gathering all these links. If you want to embed a link, you place it normally. You have to do that first. And let's take a look at like the dog in the bowl. Which one is the dog in the bowl? That's not a dog in the bowl. Let's try another one.
That's a cat. That's a cat, Anne-Marie.
I know, that's right. Okay, so this image here, the image has to be selected in the links panel. Go to the links panel menu, this little icon upper right, and choose embed link. That's all. You can see the little icon change, and now that's embedded. You could shift click all these and choose embed all the links. And then your document kind of turns into like an editable PDF, meaning anybody could print this or export it to PDF. They'd have all the high-res images that are all saved in the InDesign file itself. The InDesign file grows in size for every image that's embedded. I guess there's like a little, basement storage area in the InDesign file structure where it sticks all of these images.
Right.
Now, if you the con of that is first, if there's a lot of embedded images, it could lead to document corruption. Second is that if somebody edits this image in Photoshop, because it's embedded and not linked, I'll never know that there's a later version of it. So one of the pluses of using linked images is that if somebody updates your logo, for example, and you've used that in 20 different InDesign files, every time you open up the InDesign file, it'll say, this one's out of date. Should I update it for you?
Right.
So keep that in mind.
Well,
here, I usually embed links like screenshots in all of the documents I use to give to clients for training or, best practices, cheat sheets, that kind of thing, because I really don't care about, updating them later, and it just makes things neater. And then the final thing I want to mention is that you can always unembed. So if you've embedded, you change your mind, or you get a document like I did for my client, you want to unembed, you can just select the embedded link and go to this panel menu and choose unembed. Now, if InDesign happens to know where that file is, it could link to it. That's what this is asking. Should I do that? If you have no idea where the original file is, or you know that you don't have it, you just say no. And then it says, okay, where do you want me to save it? And I'll save it in dog brochure, and I'll say choose. And then now it's a regular linked file. I mean, we can go to Reveal in Finder, and it shows you the linked file. Okay, so pretty simply, you can embed layered Photoshop files, you can embed movies, you can embed PDFs, other InDesign files, all that can be embedded. Anything you can place, you can embed, and then you can unembed, and it comes out perfectly intact. All the layers still there and so on. So it's a pretty cool feature.
And I'm going to push back. I'm just going to push back a little bit about one thing you said, because I think this is a really important feature that a lot of people don't know about. But I think it's important. You said that it can add to the possibility of document corruption.
Yes.
I don't think that embedding images will add to the probability of document corruption. My concern is if you embed all your images and your document gets corrupted for some other reason, then you've got some problems. Now, I will say that very large InDesign files do have a higher probability. So if your InDesign file is over a gigabyte, there is a higher probability of document corruption, especially when you're working over a network. That's a real significant problem. But as long as your document is, a reasonable size, you're not getting those gigabyte or gigabyte and a half documents, that's crazy.
Right.
As long as your document is a reasonable size, embedding your images shouldn't add to the probability of document corruption. But if it does get corrupted for some reason, well, let's just say make sure you have backups. It's always a good idea to have backups of your big files, just in case one of them goes south. So
I'm going to push back a little bit there, David.
You do that. You push back, Emery.
I guess I think it's just a matter of semantics. Every InDesign document can get corrupted, but the chances of it getting corrupted or the ability to recover from corruption, like do a round-trip export to IDML and open it up again in the same version of InDesign, goes further and further down the larger and larger your document is, because there's just a lot of data there for InDesign to handle. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think InDesign is structured to use all the RAM it possibly could that's available on your hard drive. I think there's an upper limit, unlike some other apps. So if you're, if you might have 32 gigs of RAM installed, and InDesign might only be able to use 2 or 4 or something like that, and it's just not going to be able to deal with it if you're asking it to do something very difficult. So
I'm just going to say,
you're going to push back again.
I'm going to agree with you and just say, in general, again, if you're having documents that are gigabyte, 2 gigabytes, or whatever, you're probably doing something wrong.
I agree. That's right. I agree. And there's nothing wrong with embedding, as I said, small files that you're not going to send to a commercial printer. Like handouts or newsletters or things like that you're printing off yourself, or that you're just distributing as a PDF. There's nothing wrong with that. But I would say for commercial printing, it's far better to use the powerful features of linking to the original images. And what this client needed to do, and I think I'm still sharing my screen, one last thing. What this client should have done to organize their links is that after you've placed them all from all sorts of places, you select them in the links panel. I'll just select these few and go down to the menu utilities and choose copy links to. And then you can say, oh, I want to make a new folder with all my dog brochure images. And it'll put all the links in there, copy them there, and now they're all in the same place. So it's a nice way to organize them if you've been pulling them in from all different kinds of places.
It's kind of like package. You know, a lot of people use the package feature.
Right.
And except the package, you package everything up, including the InDesign document. This feature, I love that feature. The copy links too is like a partial package. You know, it does one thing the package does. It just grabs the links and puts just the ones you want in a folder. Love that feature. All right, we better finish up here. But again, this is just a little tip of the iceberg in terms of ways that you can become more productive with InDesign. And that's really what it's all about. How do you become more productive with your tool? How do you learn this tool better, become more efficient, and enjoy yourself as you're working more? Because as you enjoy yourself more, you're going to be more productive, and all things get better. So InDesignSecrets.com, InDesign Magazine, the InDesign group on Facebook, and of course, the InDesign conference at CreativePro Week, which again will be June 10th through 14th in Seattle. And we hope that we're going to see all of you there. Early bird ends. By the way, we should mention that the early bird discount ends on April 15th. So you only have about 3 weeks left, or I don't know when you're watching this video. You might be watching it later. You only have a little time left to sign up for CreativePro Week and get yourself to the InDesign conference, where you're going to have your mind blown with awesome tips and tricks. So,
okay.
We better end.
Thank you very much, everybody, for coming to our Facebook Live. Great tips. Thank you very much, David. Brilliant as usual. And we look forward to hearing more from you on InDesignSecrets.com, on our forums as comments to our blog posts, and also on our Facebook group, InDesign Secrets, which, as I said, is full of great people helping each other out.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, Anne-Marie. This is good. Thank you, Erica, in the background.
Gracias, Erica.
Pulling all the switches. And we'll say sayonara for now.
And adios.
And adios. Take care.